Hey guys, Gameboy3800 here, once again back in Beam. This is a Force Science kind of video. Everything else I'm going to show in this video, like aside from these, probably won't be released unless like I get some other major revision or whatever. Anyways, we're going to take a look at the handling characteristics between the three main chassis. We got CRC, we got stock CRD, and then we got CRD 3 actually. CRD 3 is here, stock CRD there. They should all be running the same tires, BKT 3rd gens. I'll make sure that is the case on CRC since I actually did not double check. Yep, they're all running 3rd gen BKT, so that shouldn't be too much of a factor. The rest of the factor will be suspension geometry, shape, and position. You can see that CRC does have a wider stance than CRD. As well, if we take a look at their suspension, CRD suspension is fairly straight up and down. Even on CRD 3, even though CRD 3's suspension is a little bit more tilted outwards from standard CRD, but CRC is more tilted forward, or I guess the top of the suspension is tilted back. You can see it on the chassis mounts, and it's also gotten a wider stance. So CRC, at least in BeamNG, handles bumps really good. So we're going to do a few jumps here on MetLife 2020 Custom. And just notice like the rebound and how it handles bumps and jumps. It lands so soft, there's practically no rebound. Now, if you've ever seen Avenger run in real life, you know that this may not always be the case, but the rebound here is very, very minimal. It can take pretty tight turns because it's got a wide wheelbase, or a wide stance compared to its wheelbase, I should say. Overall top speed is not too different from regular CRD. It may have a bit slower acceleration because of one, its weight, it is a heavier truck, and two, it's got a taller gear ratio with the 3rd gear. You still get enough rebound to do slap wheelies, enough control to do tight turns, and good freestyles. Awkward hits even seem to be dealt with relatively easily. We're going to shut her off here and go to the CRD 3 variant. Now this is kind of like a middle ground between CRD and CRC. At least for the front suspension, it is skinnier at the top to give it more of a stance look. How will that affect performance? Now, I didn't change any of the setups. Whatever tuning setups these trucks had when you spawned them up is what I'm driving with. You can see we take a big jump. I think we get a bit more air than CRC, but that's because it's rebounding off the ramp and then rebounding off on the landing. So this setup, I guess, is better for like a more pure big air and maybe more straight line speed. But the handling, you can see, is all wicked. It's all bouncy. It's harder to maintain control after a big landing. Not saying it's impossible to drive, but it's definitely noticeable. Having just gone from CRC to CRD, the rebound especially. Give her one more big jump here. Boing. Now CRC did rebound a little bit too, but it only really got 2 or 3 tires up instead of all of them. And last up we have regular CRD. Now we should just see what we just saw with CRD 3, but a little bit more, because the stance of the front suspension is not as ideal for this kind of a setup. Got a very similar rebound. Get pretty good air off of jumps. That's really good air. It's more of the same. The biggest issue is rebound. Now let's go back to CRC. CRC gives us a pretty cool thing. We do have the ability to change the suspension to the adjustable wheelbase suspension. Now what happens if we take this adjustable suspension and make the four-link length shorter? Why would we want to do this? For like competitive terms, not at all really. I just want to do it for science. So if we shorten the four-link length to give the suspension more of a straight up and down stance, like CRD, you can see here, they're practically the same angle now. How does this change characteristics? I wonder, will we get better air off of jumps, better rebound, or will it be worse? Now, of course, CRD also has had variable with four-link bars in the Blaze pack. But you can see that was a fairly simple landing, and we had that backlift tire popping way up. I don't think the rebound is as bad as on CRD, but it is definitely more noticeable than on stock CRC. Again, still very controllable. None of these trucks are uncontrollable. I just wanted to see what would happen when changing the suspension on CRC to behave more like the suspension on CRD. But now let's do it the other way around. So this next bit is pretty cool. This is only for science. This is not going to be released in this current visible state, as you'll see. I have added in the CRC front and rear suspension, as well as the adjustable suspension, but it shouldn't need that. And here, you saw it there for a second. There we go. CRC suspension on CRD. We do need to fix the tires so that they're a third gen, so that it's comparable. And I do need to remove the limit straps because right now those mount points are different on CRD and CRC, so if we leave it unpaused, it will shake and be bad. So get rid of those, and apply. Now we should have ourselves a fully functioning CRD, but with CRC suspension. I can tell right away that the suspension does look different on CRD versus CRC. You can tell it's using the same PBR materials, but the colors are off. That's because the edging on the model is different when you transport the DAE from one mod to another. That can be fixed, but I would need the original blend file, and I don't think I'll be getting that. So this is only for science. This will not be released. This is only to see how the suspension handles on another truck. The suspension, it doesn't line up perfectly. You could make new mounts on the chassis for it to fit, though. It's not a hard fix, but again, purely for science. And you can see the handling of CRD versus what it was with the stock suspension is definitely different. It still rebounds, but I think it's a little bit more controllable. We do still get the good bounce off of these ramps to get good air, though. Oh yeah, probably fixed. There we go. Fixed the torque curve app so you can see the power output. It's the stock engine tune, so it doesn't matter. Now this wider stance can be replicated a little bit with the Anderson axles from Blaze Pack, but Anderson's suspension does not have this kind of angle to it. So overall, this is a different driving experience for CRD. It is much more similar to CRC than CRD, of course. Now, of course, there is the other factor we're neglecting to look at here, is that when putting on parts with the parts menu, it carries over that tuning setup from the old design here. If we hit reset, you can see a lot of things change, and now it's all default here. That is something I noticed, though. Take a look at the tire damping of CRC. Is that the same for regular CRC? Let's take a look at the tire damping in the tuning menu. We have much higher tire damping on CRC compared to CRD. And I bet you that is why CRC's suspension geometry is so vastly different. So here on CRD, tire damping is only 600 Newton meters per second. When on CRC, its default is set to 2,000. It can go up to 3,000, and lowest is 1,000. So why is that? That helps reduce rebound at the expense of having a little bit less corner grip, but for CRC and its wider stance, it makes up for it, so there's no downside. But the ultra-high tire damping is what makes it a lot better controlled on the rebound. So with a reset, back to 2,000 Newton meters of sidewall damping, let's see how we handle now. Look at that. Almost no rebound. That is the secret behind CRC suspension. It's not exactly... Oh, look out. It's not exactly all in the geometry and the width. I think a lot of it has to do with the tires. Oh my. With a reset, we got a huge sky wheelie off that ramp. Oof. So, let's do another test here. We're going to ignore that for now. There's only one way to get higher damping tires on CRD, and that is with the the adjustable BKTs. Are those available on CRD 3? Those are adjustable or available on CRD 3. So we will put those on. They're not BKT 3 tires, but they allow us to get closer to what CRC is capable of here. We go to tuning now. You can see our tire damping goes up to 1100 instead of only like 600 or 900 or whatever. So with CRD 3 and its slightly angled suspension, a bit like CRC, will we have a middle ground here? Fix the torque curve up there. Now adjustable BKTs are available in adjustable add-ons pack, out right now. Higher tire damping, I have discovered, does help with rebound, and you can see we still get some rebound, but we have a harder time turning. CRC's wider stance makes up for this, so that you don't notice it too bad, but definitely we get less rebound on CRD if we have higher tire damping. That is the secret to CRC, high tire damping plus wheel stance. It is less to do with the suspension placement. And that fact is actually reassuring that I can make something releasable that handles just as good as CRC today. I won't do it today, but you know what I mean. Right now I'm not allowed to release that CRC suspension on CRD. But I could revamp the stock CRD suspension and release that. That's a good idea for the future. If you guys think that's a good idea, or want to see me tackle some other strange Force Science non-releasable ideas, just to see what would happen, you can leave them in the comment section below. And that's about going to do it for now. I'll see you all in the future. Oh my, look at that, that was cool. I'll drive regular CRC one more time just to give like a final view of where this all came from. Regular CRC, very good at handling bumps, very good at steering. It's good at steering because it's wide. It's good at handling bumps because of its high tire damping. Look at that. Thanks, Game Boy. I'll see you all in the future.